Many people keep broccoli in the fridge, take it out when it looks fresh and green, boil it hard, and dip it in a strong sauce. It feels crunchy, clean, and healthy. For a lot of older adults, broccoli becomes a symbol of doing the right thing for the body. But here is the part that is often missed. Broccoli can be a very healthy vegetable, yet the best way to eat it is not the same for everyone. As we get older, our body's filter and drainage system slows down. The kidneys, in particular, can become less efficient without causing obvious pain. That quiet change matters, because broccoli is naturally rich in potassium and other compounds that can be perfectly fine for a healthy person, but may become a burden when kidney function is reduced, or when certain heart or blood pressure medications are involved. This script is not meant to scare you away from broccoli. It is meant to help you eat it in a way that is safer, gentler, and actually easier to maintain. The goal is simple, less strain, more benefit, and fewer surprises. Let's start with the most common traps. Trap 1 is believing that boiling makes everything safer. Boiling does soften broccoli and can make it easier to chew. But boiling for a long time can also wash away flavor and water-soluble nutrients. When flavor disappears, most people compensate with more sauce. That leads directly to trap 2. It's vegetables, so the sauce doesn't matter. In real life, sauce often matters more than the vegetable. Many popular dipping sauces are high in sodium and sugar. For older adults, excess sodium can worsen. Swelling in blood pressure and frequent spikes in blood sugar can stress small blood vessels, including the tiny vessels that feed the kidneys. Trap 3 is the green juice habit. Blending or juicing large amounts of broccoli, often mixed with kale, spinach, and other high-potassium greens, and drinking a big cup quickly, especially on an empty stomach. Chewing naturally limits portions. Drinking does not. When you concentrate several servings into one fast drink, you change both the amount and the speed at which potassium enters the bloodstream. If your kidneys cannot clear it efficiently, the body may struggle to keep the heart's electrical rhythm steady. Trap 4 is the bone health combo done every day, pairing broccoli with large amounts of dairy. For some people, certain combinations and patterns can contribute to an environment that favors stone formation, especially if hydration is low and sodium intake is high. Not everyone will develop kidney stones, but repeating the same combination daily for months is not always a good idea if you already have risk factors. Now let's shift to what works. Think of broccoli as a supportive side dish, not a daily medicine that must be taken in large doses. The best approach for older adults is moderate portions. Gentle cooking, simple seasoning, and variety across the week. The first practical step is shopping and storage. Choose broccoli with tight, compact florets, deep green color, and stems that are not dried out. If you buy more than you can use within a few days, freeze what you won't eat soon. Frozen broccoli is a perfectly reasonable option and often reduces waste. Once you bring broccoli home, do one small thing that makes everything easier. Pre-cut it into bite-sized florets, rinse it well, drain it, and store it in a container. When food is ready to cook, you are more likely to eat it in a balanced way, instead of reaching for convenience foods. The second step is cooking. Instead of boiling until it becomes limp, use steaming. Steaming keeps flavor and texture, which helps you rely less on salty or sugary sauce. You can use a steamer basket, a pot with a small amount of water, or even a microwave, with a lid and a tiny splash of water. The key idea is short and gentle. Cook until the broccoli turns bright green and becomes tender crisp. If you overcook it, it loses texture, becomes watery, and again pushes you toward heavy seasoning. The third step is seasoning. Older adults often need flavor that feels satisfying, but does not come from a sugar and salt hit. One of the easiest ways to do this is to use acidity and aroma. Vinegar, lemon juice, mustard, and a small amount of onion or black pepper. A simple dip can be made with a small splash of soy sauce, a little vinegar, and a tiny amount of mustard or horseradish. If you enjoy onion, slice it very thin, soak briefly in water to soften the bite, and add it on top. This gives sharpness without dumping in extra salt or sugar. If spicy flavors bother your stomach, skip the mustard and use lemon or vinegar only. If you want richness, add just a small drizzle of olive oil, small enough that you still taste the broccoli. Next, let's discuss who should be extra careful. This is not about self-diagnosing. It is about being realistic. If you have been told your kidney function is reduced, if your lab reports mention eGFR or creatinine changes, if you have persistent protein in the urine, if you have long-standing high blood pressure or diabetes, Or if you take certain medications that influence potassium balance, you should treat high potassium foods with more respect. That does not automatically mean you must avoid broccoli completely. It means the big cup of concentrated greens habit is a poor match, and large daily portions may not be wise without guidance. If you have a history of irregular heartbeat, fainting, unexplained weakness, or frequent palpitations, it is also safer to avoid sudden dietary extremes. When the body's electrical system is sensitive, stability matters. A realistic and safe habit is to place broccoli inside a balanced meal. Many people try to eat clean by eating only vegetables. But older adults are at high risk for muscle loss if protein intake is too low. Weak muscles increase fall risk and reduce independence. So instead of broccoli only, pair a modest portion of broccoli with a gentle protein such as eggs, tofu, fish, or a small portion of chicken. This creates steadier appetite control and reduces cravings for sweet snacks later. On days when you eat broccoli, consider reducing very salty foods. Soups with a lot of broth, salted side dishes, processed meats, instant noodles, pickled foods, and heavy sauces. Often, the real kidney burden is not broccoli. It is the overall sodium pattern that surrounds it. Now let's address the green juice issue in a clear, practical way. Many people like the feeling of doing something good first thing in the morning, but if you are older, or if you are unsure about your kidney status, a concentrated green juice can be too intense. A safer option is to drink water first, eat a small protein food, and then have vegetables as part of a normal meal where chewing slows you down. If you still love juices, downsize, make it a small cup, not a large glass, and avoid mixing multiple high-potassium greens together. More is not always better. Gentle is often better. What about dairy and broccoli together? The best answer is moderation and context. If you have never had kidney stones, if you hydrate well, and if your overall diet is not high in sodium, you may tolerate such meals fine. But if you have had stones, if your urine tends to be concentrated, if you rarely drink water, or if you eat very salty foods, then repeating broccoli plus lots of dairy daily is not the smartest routine. Rather than obsessing over a single ingredient, focus on the pattern. Drink enough fluids appropriate for your medical situation. Reduce sodium, and avoid turning one food combo into a daily ritual. Here are easy recipes that keep the habit simple. Recipe 1: steamed broccoli with lemon and pepper. Steam, cool slightly, squeeze lemon, add black pepper. That is it. Recipe 2: vinegar mustard dip. Mix a small amount of soy sauce, vinegar, and a tiny amount of mustard. Dip lightly, not heavily. Recipe 3: broccoli and mushrooms. Steam or saute briefly with mushrooms. Mushrooms bring aroma that makes low-salt food feel complete. Recipe 4: broccoli with tofu. Combine steamed broccoli with tofu, then add a light dressing of vinegar and a small drizzle of oil. Recipe 5: broccoli and egg custard. Chop broccoli finely, add to a soft egg dish, and season lightly. These are not fancy, but they are repeatable. Now let's talk about signals that should prompt a check-in, rather than guesswork. If you notice new or worsening swelling in the ankles or face, foamy urine that does not clear easily, a significant drop in urine amount, persistent fatigue that feels different from normal tiredness, shortness of breath, or frequent palpitations, do not assume it is just getting older. These can have many causes, but they are worth discussing with a clinician. If you recently changed your diet, dramatically, especially by increasing concentrated vegetables and supplements, and then notice these symptoms, that timing is also a clue. Healthy habits should make you feel more stable, not more unwell. Caregivers and adult children often want to help, and sometimes accidentally create overload. The most common mistake is adding all the good things at once. Broccoli, tomatoes, bananas, soy milk, green powders, herbal extracts, and multiple supplements. When you pile many potassium-containing items together, you may increase risk without realizing it. A smarter strategy is to change one thing at a time and observe. Keep a simple record for a week. Meals, swelling, blood pressure if you measure it, sleep, digestion, energy. Patterns become visible quickly. This is especially useful because kidney changes can be subtle. Another practical issue is comfort. Some people feel bloated from broccoli. That does not mean broccoli is bad. It means your digestion may prefer smaller portions and softer cooking. Chop smaller, cook a little longer. But not to mush, eat slowly, and keep portions modest. Rotate with other vegetables such as zucchini, cabbage, eggplant, cucumber, or bell pepper to reduce monotony and digestive load. Consistency matters more than intensity. If you want a weekly rhythm, try this idea on some days. Broccoli is a small side dish on other days. You skip it and use different vegetables once in a while. You use frozen broccoli for convenience on days with restaurant meals. Focus on lowering overall sodium and portion size, rather than forcing a health food on top of a salty menu. This reduces guilt and makes the habit sustainable. Sustainability is health. A perfect plan you cannot keep is not a plan. Now, a key mindset shift. The goal is not more broccoli. The goal is a calmer internal environment. That means steadier blood pressure, steadier blood sugar, less swelling, better digestion, and more stable energy. Broccoli can support that when it is prepared, and paired in a kidney-friendly way. It can work against it. When it becomes part of a high-sodium, high-sugar, high-concentration routine, you do not need dramatic changes. You need gentle upgrades that you can repeat without stress. To help you start immediately, choose just one promise for this week. Promise 1, switch from boiling to steaming. Promise 2, replace a sweet salty sauce with a vinegar-based dip and use a small dish to limit the amount. Promise 3, stop drinking large green juices on an empty stomach and eat vegetables in chewable form instead. Promise 4, on broccoli days, reduce salty soups and pickled side dishes. Promise 5, check your next lab report and ask one question about potassium and kidney function. Any one of these changes is enough to move in the right direction. Small steps are powerful because they last. Finally, remember, this health information should not create fear. It should create clarity. Broccoli is not your enemy. It is a tool. Tools work best when used correctly and in the right situation. Respect your body's current pace. Eat in a way that feels steady. Adjust based on your own tests and your own medications. And keep the focus on the long game. A diet that supports comfort, independence, and calm daily energy. If you do that, broccoli can stay on your plate without becoming a hidden burden. Let's go deeper into the how much question, because many people want a clear number. The truth is that portion size depends on kidney function, medication, and the rest of your diet that day. For someone with normal kidney function, broccoli, as a regular side dish, is usually fine. For someone with reduced kidney function, the safe portion can be smaller, and frequency may need to be limited. That is why the most useful number is not a universal portion. It is the habit of not concentrating and not stacking multiple high-potassium foods at once. If your plate is already heavy with high-potassium items, adding another big serving pushes you closer to overload. If your day is otherwise balanced, a modest serving of broccoli is less risky. Think in terms of stacking. Do not stack broccoli juice, banana, tomato soup, and high-potassium greens all in one day without knowing your lab values. A helpful way to manage stacking is to build your meals with a simple structure. Start with a protein anchor, add vegetables, and keep starchy carbs moderate. When your meals are structured, you crave less sauce and fewer snacks. That alone reduces stress on the kidneys. For breakfast, many older adults do better with warm, simple foods: eggs, tofu soup with light seasoning, a small portion of fish, or yogurt if tolerated. Add a small vegetable side if you like, but avoid turning breakfast into a detox drink session. For lunch, include vegetables like steamed broccoli as part of the meal, not as the meal. For dinner, keep sodium lower and portions smaller, especially if you have swelling or high blood pressure. Now let's talk about sauces with a practical lens. People do not overuse sauce because they are careless. They overuse sauce because bland food feels depressing. So the real solution is to change the flavor strategy. Instead of relying on salt and sugar, rely on acid, aroma, and texture. Acid means vinegar or lemon. Aroma means onion, garlic used lightly, ginger, mustard, pepper, toasted sesame seeds, or herbs. Texture means keeping broccoli tender crisp instead of mushy. When broccoli tastes and feels good on its own, you naturally use less sauce. Also, use a small dipping dish. If the sauce is in a big bowl, the hand becomes generous without noticing. If it is in a tiny dish, you stay aware. What about boiling and nutrient loss? It is fine to boil broccoli occasionally, especially if you have chewing issues. The point is not perfection. The point is to avoid long boiling that creates mush and encourages heavy seasoning. If boiling is your only comfortable method, boil briefly, then use light seasoning. You can also save the cooking water for soup so you do not discard everything. Again, the big risk is not one cooking method. It is the pattern of over-seasoning and over-concentrating. Let's add a section on medication and why it matters. Some blood pressure medicines and heart medicines. can change how the body handles potassium. Some people also take supplements that affect electrolytes. If you are taking such medications, the safest approach is to keep your diet steady rather than swinging between extremes. Sudden changes like starting a daily, large green juice can create unexpected shifts. If you want to change your diet, change gradually and pay attention to how you feel. If you are unsure, ask a clinician a simple question. Do I need to limit high potassium foods? You do not need to memorize medical details. You just need guidance tailored to your situation. Here is a simple list of questions you can bring to your next appointment. Do my kidney tests suggest I should watch potassium? Do any of my medicines increase potassium? Is it safe for me to drink concentrated vegetable juices? If I want to eat broccoli regularly, what portion and frequency would you recommend? These questions are short, but they can prevent months of misguided effort. Next, let's address hydration in a responsible way. Many health tips say drink more water, but that is not always correct for everyone. Some people with heart failure or advanced kidney disease are told to limit fluids. So rather than giving a single rule, use this principle. Drink enough to avoid concentrated urine unless your clinician has given you a fluid restriction. If you have no restriction, small sips throughout the day are often better than forcing a huge amount at once. If you do have a restriction, follow it carefully and focus on lowering sodium, because sodium makes thirst worse and promotes fluid retention. Now let's cover kidney stones more carefully, because fear spreads easily here. Kidney stones are influenced by hydration, sodium, protein balance, weight, and genetics. Oxalate is part of the story for some stone types, but it is not the whole story. Many people hear oxalate and panic. A calmer approach is better if you have a stone history. Reduce sodium, stay hydrated as allowed, avoid extreme repetitive patterns, and discuss your stone type with a clinician if you can. You do not need to ban broccoli. You need to avoid turning any single food into a daily ritual that crowds out balance. Let's bring this back to a very practical day-to-day routine. Imagine you want to keep broccoli as a regular part of your diet. Here is a simple weekly routine that many older adults can maintain. Once a week, buy broccoli and either use it within a few days or freeze the rest. Pre-cut it and store it so cooking is easy. 2 or 3 times a week, steam a small portion to serve as a side dish. On one of those days, use a vinegar mustard dip. On another day, use lemon and pepper. On another day, combine broccoli with mushrooms or tofu. On the remaining days, choose other vegetables and keep variety. If you enjoy restaurant meals, choose them wisely. And do not try to compensate by drinking green juice the next morning. Compensation often creates more imbalance than the restaurant meal itself. Let's also talk about social eating, because older adults often eat with family. If your family likes strong flavors, create 2 versions of sauce, a lighter version for you and a stronger version for others. Do not feel guilty for having your own sauce. It is a smart adjustment. If family members insist that broccoli is healthy, so eat more, you can respond calmly, I'm eating it in a way that fits my body now. That mindset protects you from pressure and helps you stay consistent. Digestion matters too. If broccoli makes you gassy, try these steps in order: reduce portion size, cook a bit more, chop smaller, eat slower, and rotate with other vegetables. You can also pair broccoli with warm foods rather than cold foods. Warmth can be easier on digestion for some people. If you have serious digestive symptoms, address those first, so healthy foods do not become uncomfortable. Another overlooked factor is sleep and stress. When sleep is short, cravings for salty and sweet foods increase, and blood pressure and blood sugar become harder to control. Then even a healthy meal can get covered with extra sauce, because the body craves intensity. So if you are trying to improve kidney-friendly eating, work on sleep rhythm too. A simple evening walk, reducing late night snacks, and keeping dinner lighter can make the next day's appetite calmer. Calm appetite leads to better food choices. Better choices reduce kidney strain. Everything is connected. Now let's create a quick decision guide you can use anytime you look at broccoli. Ask yourself, am I going to chew this or drink it? Chew is safer than drink. Am I going to add a lot of salty or sweet sauce? If yes, change the sauce. Am I eating several high-potassium foods today? If yes, keep the portion modest. Am I swelling today or feeling unusually weak? If yes, keep the meal gentle and consider checking your blood pressure and symptoms. Am I on medications that affect potassium? If yes, Keep changes gradual and ask for guidance. This guide is simple, and it works because it focuses on the big levers. To close, we can restate the message in one line: broccoli is healthy, but older bodies need a smarter method. The smarter method is not complicated. Steam instead of long boiling. Use acid and aroma instead of salt and sugar. Chew instead of drinking concentrated juices. Keep portions modest and rotate with other vegetables. Pay attention to your own labs and medicines. If you follow these principles, broccoli can stay in your kitchen as a supportive, enjoyable food rather than a hidden source of strain. One final gentle reminder: if you have been told you have kidney disease, or if you have heart rhythm problems, do not rely only on online advice. Use your lab results as your compass. Online tips can help you choose safer cooking and seasoning, but your own numbers and your clinician's guidance should decide the boundaries. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be steady, safe, and consistent. Start with one change this week, keep it for 2 weeks, then add another change. That is how lasting health habits are built. Frequently asked questions can also help clarify the confusion. Is raw broccoli safer than cooked? For most people, raw is not automatically safer. Raw broccoli is harder to chew and can cause more gas. More importantly, raw does not solve the potassium issue. It only changes texture. For older adults, gentle cooking usually improves comfort and reduces the need for heavy sauce. Does soaking broccoli reduce potassium? Some minerals can leach into water, but the amount varies based on how it is cut, how long it sits, and how much water is used. Rather than trying to engineer numbers at home, focus first on the habits that matter most. Avoid concentration. Avoid heavy sodium and keep portions moderate. If you are in a high-risk group, ask for specific advice rather than guessing. Is frozen broccoli worse than fresh? Not necessarily. Frozen broccoli is often processed quickly after harvest and can be convenient. The main difference is texture. Frozen broccoli can become soft faster when cooked, so use shorter heating time and avoid overcooking. What about broccoli stems? Stems are fine for many people. Peel the tough outer layer and slice thin. They can be steamed or added to soups. Stems add fiber and help reduce waste. Is it okay to eat broccoli every day? For a person with normal kidney function and balanced sodium intake, it can be okay in moderate portions. But for older adults who do not know their kidney status, every day can become a mindless ritual. A better approach is to build variety broccoli. Some days, other vegetables, other days. Variety lowers the chance of stacking a single nutrient in excess and also improves adherence. Because you don't get bored? Is sauce really that bad? Sauce is not morally bad. It is just easy to overdo. The same broccoli can be gentle or harsh depending on what it is dipped in. The trick is to downgrade the sauce without losing satisfaction. Smaller dish, less volume. More acid, more aroma, less sugar, less salt. If you love a sweet, salty sauce, keep it for special occasions and choose a lighter sauce for everyday meals. You don't need to eliminate joy, you need to manage frequency and dose. Here is a short list of kitchen habits that make the healthy choice the easy choice. Keep vinegar and lemon in front, not hidden. Keep mustard or horseradish in a simple tube for convenience. Use small bowls for dips. Steam in batches and store cooked broccoli for a day or two, so you can add it to meals quickly. Keep plain nuts, sesame seeds, and black pepper as flavor boosters, so you are not dependent on salt. None of these habits cost much, but they change behavior. Dining out is where many routines collapse, so let's handle that directly. If you eat out and the meal is salty, do not punish yourself with extreme clean eating the next day. That usually leads to a big green juice, a lack of protein, cravings, and then another salty snack. Instead, use a recovery plan that is gentle. Drink water as allowed. Keep breakfast balanced with protein. Choose steamed vegetables and simple seasoning at the next meal, and reduce soup broth and pickled sides for a day. Balance is faster than punishment. Travel and holidays bring another challenge. You cannot control food perfectly. In those situations, keep one anchor habit. Choose chewable vegetables over drinks and limit sauce. Even if everything else is imperfect, those two habits reduce risk. Also, if you are on medications, keep your medication routine steady. Skipping or doubling medicines because meals feel off is risky. Ask your clinician what to do when travel disrupts routines. For caregivers, here is a supportive script you can use with an older parent without creating fear. You can say, let's keep broccoli, but let's cook it in a way that's easier on your body. We'll steam it and use a light sauce. We'll also rotate vegetables so it's not the same thing every day. This approach respects the parent's desire to be healthy, while preventing extremes. You can also help by preparing sauce in advance and keeping it ready because convenience drives behavior. Now, let's build a 2-minute summary that you can remember easily. Broccoli itself is not the problem. The problem is the pattern long boiling that ruins taste. Heavy sauce that adds sodium and sugar and concentrated juices that deliver a fast load. That is the real win. Before we finish, it helps to remember that health is not built by a single superfood. It is built by repeating reasonable choices for months. Older adults often feel pressure to fix health quickly, and that pressure can lead to extreme routines, strict detox days, huge juices, and sudden elimination of favorite foods. Extreme routines rarely last, and when they fail, people feel discouraged. A better plan is smaller, kinder, and repeatable. If broccoli is one of the vegetables you enjoy, keep it. Just adjust the method so it fits your body today. Try this simple starter plan for the next 2 weeks. Week 1, change only the cooking method. If you usually boil broccoli for a long time, switch to steaming most of the time. Keep everything else the same. Week 2, change only the sauce habit. Use a small dish and a lighter sauce based on vinegar or lemon. Keep portions modest. After 2 weeks, you will have changed a major part of the pattern without feeling deprived. Then you can decide whether you want to reduce juices, rotate vegetables more, or lower sodium on broccoli days. Stepwise change is easier on the body and the mind. If you want one golden rule, make it this: chew your vegetables more often than you drink them. Chewing slows intake, improves satiety, and reduces the chance of accidental overload. Drinks are not evil, but drinks make it easy to consume large amounts quickly. For older adults, slower is often safer. And if you ever feel confused, return to the simplest question. Does this choice make my body feel calmer? A kidney-friendly routine tends to reduce swelling, reduce heavy tiredness, stabilize appetite, and support better sleep. Those are practical signs. Use them as feedback while still respecting your lab. Results in medical guidance. Broccoli can remain part of your table as a friendly, useful food. You don't need fear. You need method. Steady method brings steady health. One more practical idea: redesign the environment, not your willpower. Place the heavy sauces at the back of the refrigerator and keep vinegar, lemon, and mustard at the front. Keep a small dipping bowl on the table so you naturally portion the sauce. If you cook for a family, make the base broccoli lightly seasoned. Then let others add stronger sauces on their own plates. This protects your health without forcing everyone to eat the same way. When the environment supports your goal, you do not have to fight yourself at every meal. That is how habits become automatic. Thank you for staying with this to the end. If you only remember one thing, remember this: broccoli is healthy, but method matters. Keep it gentle, keep it modest, keep it chewable, and keep it part of a varied week. Use your own lab results as the final guide. Start with one change, keep it for 2 weeks, then add the next. Small steps done consistently are stronger than big steps done once. If you want to share one simple action with a friend or parent, suggest this: steam it and use a light vinegar dip. That single change lowers sodium, reduces overeating of sauce, and keeps the texture satisfying. It is easy, inexpensive, and realistic. Steady choices protect the long game. Your next calm meal can start today. Yes!